Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm very excited to bring you a review for the new Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Series 1 Captain America. For anyone that's not familiar with this little Legends subline, it's a celebration of, naturally, the line's 20th anniversary, and it harkens back to the original Toy Biz days, back when that company had the rights to Marvel Legends before Hasbro bought it. And this is something of a mini-series going back and recreating the original Series 1 Toy Biz Legends figures. The first one that was released was Iron Man, which we covered previously, and now we get Captain America, who's being followed by Hulk and then Toad. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at Cap's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll check out the figure itself, his posability, his bevy of accessories, because he's got a lot. We'll also be checking out his little reversible backdrop that he comes with. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Cap comes in a recreation of his original Toy Biz packaging, done up in the same shape and style with a really big window right here on the front. You can see he has a ton of accessories. So he has his shield, and what you can't really see is that the shield has little ports on it that you can attach things like this little energy effect here. You have what are apparently like little bullet strikes, and then, I don't know, a slash going across it there. You get an unmasked Captain head, which is kind of jarring because we're used to Cap looking a certain way now, especially since Chris Evans has portrayed the character for so long. And usually, when there's a successful live-action Marvel movie, the comics tend to slowly kind of tweak character appearances to line up a little more with how the actor looks. In this case, I mean, this guy looks completely different from the Cap that I'm used to. We can also see 4 additional hands for dynamic posing. There's something back here. I can't tell what it is, some blue thing. It's supposed to look like his hood is like down around his neck when you put this head on. That's really cool. Can't wait to look at that. All right, and then we get hints of the backdrop. Now, let's flip this around. So we get a shot of the figure with the little bullet strikes hitting the shield. And then here's one side of the backdrop you can see, just kind of a plastic clip stand with a cardboard insert. And this is an illustration meant to recreate the actual physical plastic backdrop that the original figure came with. It's still unfortunate that they're not just doing the actual plastic backdrops for these, because I think a 3D backdrop's way cooler than a piece of cardboard. But the trade-off is that this ends up being reversible, so you get, you know, an allusion to the Series 1 toy here, but then on the reverse, you'll see it better out of package, but it's a cover to a classic Captain America comic. So I think it's a neat touch. And then you get the character's name and all that. And this is just the same flavor text that came with Iron Man, where it just talks about, you know, the history, how they're celebrating the original 2002 Toy Biz release, and they're also naming the figures that are coming, right? So you got Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, and Toad. So as far as we know, it's just going to be those 4. I don't know if they're going to do more later or what. I mean, they would have an easy recolor with that, was it like the Stealth Iron Man one that was also part of Series 1? It would just be a dark blue recolor of the one they released. Maybe that'll be like a convention exclusive or something. I don't know. All right, so the packaging, very, very cool. Very much takes me back to the early 2000s when Legends was just getting its footing. But as usual, I don't buy these for the packaging, so it's time to open it up. Okay, here's our out-of-package look at the figure, and it's absolute bevy of accessories. This guy comes with a lot. So I feel like I'm getting my money's worth here. Obviously, you have Captain America himself, coming packaged with his closed fists. You have his backdrop, which is reversible, as you can see. Here's the comic cover. Now, what's crazy about this, so this is Captain America issue 109, and this is from 1968 or 69, depending on whether you go by the release date or the cover date. And something I find odd, because I was looking at pictures of this to, you know, get more info on it. Right here, this is where the price would go, and this used to say 12 cents, and for some reason they blanked it out. I don't know why they would blank that out. I don't know, like, why that would be an issue. Unless Hasbro just really doesn't want us thinking about how much prices of these things have gone up. Like, I can't think, like, what reason would they have to remove that other than, hey, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, you know? Like, I know we're going through a lot of price hikes lately, and we got more on the way before the end of the year, but don't think too much about it. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit of a self-defense there on their part. Okay, so we also get the alternate Steve Rogers head with this little folded back mask / hood that you can put around the neck. We get the energy effect. We get our bullet strike effects, our slash effect, the shield itself. Now the shield's interesting. So it has the 3 holes that you can place the effects in, but each hole is a different shape, meaning that there is a right way and a wrong way to attach the effects, which I actually kind of appreciate, because that means, you know how to put it on the right way. So you get like a kind of a half circle, you get a rectangle with a corner cut out, and then a plain rectangle, so pretty cool. And right here, we have this swappable clip / peg right here. So the peg part is for plugging this into his back, or you can just flip this down. It's a little tight. You get a clip for placing this on his forearm. So that's pretty cool. I like it so far. And then we get 2 extra pairs of hands. We get one set where he's saluting with his right hand and then pointing with his left. And then we have another set that's just 2 open hands. So there's a lot here. And I would say he seems to be a better value than the Iron Man, because the Iron Man, while he wasn't a slouch, he didn't seem to come with all this. So I don't know, I feel like this one just justifies the price a little bit more. All right, now let's get a look at the figure itself. Check out the posability. So the head is on a ball joint and a hinge, so he can look way down, look way up. Luckily, there's plenty of clearance to do so, which is nice. He has universal shoulders that can go up and down. You can rotate. It's all ratcheted. The up and down motion's a little tight, but it will go. Got a bicep swivel, double bend elbows, and he's got his universal wrists, which can hinge and rotate and all that fun stuff. He has an ab crunch, which can ratchet back or forward. Now, because of the way his armor kind of drapes down across the front, it does hinder the forward motion, so he can't, bend forward too much, but I would say it's enough. He has a belt, which is actually not attached. It's a free piece right here. He's got universal hips. They don't splay out very far, but they can get some really good forward motion. Got a thigh swivel. Got the double bend knees. Boot swivel. And then ankle rock. And rotation. So, really everything you need. He's got all the articulation you would want in a figure. And he's quite stable. Stands up very well. Poses well, looks really good. Now I love this little scale mail effect that they have on the upper torso area here. It's on not just the chest, but the shoulders and even the biceps. Right here, it's even sculpted on the top of the biceps to give it this natural transition. Really nice touch. I mean, they went out of their way to sculpt all that, because normally these guys just get, generic, flat, smooth, like pectoral muscle region, So he's doing something different there, and I like it. He's also got this harness piece, which is meant to be what he actually, sets his shield on in real life. And the harness has a hole leading to a hole in his back. That's where you plug the peg in for the shield. You can also see he's got a star right there, the holes in the middle of. So very, very nice figure. He's also got this almost like cell shading effect on his abs, where the more recess areas are a darker red. It looks good. He looks very, very good. One of the best looking Captain America figures I've ever seen. Now let's go ahead and play around with his accessories. So let's go ahead and swap his head so we can see how that works. So you just pop it off. Be careful not to put too much force on these wings. They are soft. They have some give, but you could still break them off. This bit right here, you want to place it around the neck with the wings pointing down, because that's how it'd be oriented if he pulled his mask back. And then you just place the Steve Rogers head on here. It's a bit tighter than the Cap head, which is interesting because the Tony Stark head for Iron Man was the same way. It was a lot tighter than the actual masked one. Alright, so you get that. It looks pretty good, I gotta say. It looks like he actually has pulled his cowl or his mask back. Again, it's hard getting used to that face. He actually looks more like US Agent to me than he does Steve Rogers. But I guess at the time they designed the original figure, this is how he was being drawn and how he looked. Now let's go ahead and check out the alternate hands. So, pop these off. I'll do the first set over here first. So you get your saluting / karate chop action hand. we get our pointing finger. In there. So you can have old Steve saluting the red, white, and blue, as he is wont to do. Very patriotic superhero. Turn his head so he can like turn into the salute a little better. It's hard to get the perfect angle here. There we go. And you have him like, pointing at something. Like, oh yes, it's all in a day's work, defending the country, yada yada yada. Looks pretty good. Now in a real situation, you would never be saluting and pointing at something at the same time. Very bad military bearing there, Mr. Rogers. So you'd probably, for realism, want to use like the closed fist and just, have his arms at his side, or that arm at his side. But, we're just here to cycle through the hands. Alright, so we get that. We'll pop these off again. We'll go ahead and put the open hands on. Okay, now these I don't find quite as useful. I can't think of too many good poses that would involve the open hands. Maybe he's reaching out to shake somebody's hand or something. I don't know. But they are there. They are an option. Maybe slapping Red Skull in the face. Boom! I mean, it's funny to think, but at the same time, a slap from Captain America would probably take your head off, so. It is effective, even if it looks silly. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is kind of reset him. Put the regular Cap head back on. Put the closed fist back, because they're the ones that are going to work best when we mess with the shield here. So, put that back on. Swap these out again. Okay. Got him back in his, neutral getup. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's just go ahead and place the shield on his back so we can see how that looks. So, looks pretty good. It's nice and solid on there. Now, obviously it's got holes in it, so for display purposes, you probably want to put, the blue energy effect on there or something just to fill those. But the holes aren't too big and glaring, so you could just ignore them. I mean, the shield looks good either way. But now, let's go ahead. We're going to flip the C-clip down. And this is just going to clip right over his wrist. Just push it on like that. And it stays on there very well. It's not too hard to put on there. Looks good so far. And he's got a few options. So we can start with the one that comes packaged with the shield. Now this one's pretty hard to mess up. It's pretty obvious, how it's supposed to go on. So you get this. Now I don't know what the blue energy signifies. It's probably something from the comics I'm not aware of. I don't know, is he just absorbing electricity, or at some point did his shield have some sort of energy it gave off? I don't actually know, unfortunately. But it does look really cool. So there's that option, where we can take this off. One thing you can do to make taking this off easier, you can actually push your fingers against the little holes on the back and push those notches out a little. Be careful when pulling this off because it is pretty flimsy and could rip it. Alright, let's do the slash effect next. And this one is also pretty obvious the way it's supposed to go on there. Just goes across the curvature of the edge there. And that looks pretty cool. So if you have him battling somebody with a sword or something, you could have a really neat display of him blocking that slash with his shield. And I think that effect also looks really good. And lastly, get this off. This one's a little more solid, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it breaking. We do these. Now these require you to actually really look at them and see which way they're supposed to go. So, this looks like the rectangle with the corner cut out, so we'll put that in there. If I can get it. There we go. So get that one. This is the regular rectangular one. You put it in there. And you want these little bullet marks pointing, the flash is pointing upward if you have them holding it like this. That's the way that they're supposed to go in. How you know you're doing it right. Alright. So you get all three. That's really cool. I like that one. Especially if you have him in front of this backdrop where he's in a World War II setting. He's going to be blocking bullet fire, so I think he looks awesome like this. Speaking of the backdrop, let's go ahead and play with that here. Get him set up on it. Just got 2 pegs. I believe this is the same plastic stand that came with Iron Man, so kind of generic. Only thing different is the card that goes on there and the color of the stand. So he goes on just like this. That looks really cool. Him being in the middle of a World War II battlefield. Great, great display piece. Or if you want to go more old school, or technically new school, because this came out, you know, a lot later than World War II, but you know what I mean. We could put that on there. And that looks pretty good too. Now he does unfortunately block most of the drawing of himself, but maybe that works out for the best. He can kind of be the stand-in for the drawing version, and then you can just have all this text in the background, almost like he's actually bursting out of the newspaper. So regardless of which combination you choose for this display, you know, what hands, what head, blast effects, the display piece, they're all going to look really good. And it's great that you have so many options because you don't feel kind of pigeonholed into displaying them a certain way. You can do pretty much whatever you want. I think that's great. For, I think, what was this guy, 30 bucks? Because he's kind of a premium release and he has all this extra stuff. I feel good about the purchase, honestly. There's so much here. He's really, really great. Now here is a comparison shot with the red Onslaught wave Captain America. And this figure is not mine. Like the MCU Iron Man that I've used in my reviews, this is one of my son's figures that I'm just borrowing for this. But I wanted to include him here because there's actually a lot of shared tooling between these two. So pretty much everything from the waist down, all the same piece, just colored, you know, much more brightly on the new one. Now, interestingly, the belt, while the same exact piece, is reversed between the two of them. I don't know why. I'm not sure which one's supposed to be more accurate, but I mean, it's fixable. You could, like, you know, pop them off at the waist and flip it around or whatever, but yeah, for some reason the belt is backwards between the two of them. And then everything from like the elbow joint down, including the, you know, the wrist and all that, are the same. Now I think the hands are different. I don't think they came with like the actual same hands, though the pointing finger might be the same. I'm not sure. But yeah, a sizable portion of this toy, I'd say, you know, maybe 60% of the total toy is the same tooling. Now the upper arms, the shoulders, the ab and chest, the head, that's all different. And thankfully so, because, you know, this is what I was talking about earlier. You know, your just generic muscular torso thing, and they just painted a star on there. That's not the most exciting tooling in the world. This guy has his own just really awesome scale mail chest thing going on. I really dig it. What is interesting, so this toy, I don't know where his shield is, unfortunately, so I can't compare the shields. They got to be different pieces, though, because while the little clip will clip onto his wrist okay, the port in his back right here, if you try to plug in the 5mm, or not 5mm, but just the skinny little port here, it's very loose. It doesn't stay in there well, so I think there is different tooling. I imagine the whole shield's different, right? Because I know his shield didn't have these like blast effects in it. So you can store this on his back, but it is going to fall off pretty easily. So not much in the way of compatibility there. Naturally, the hands should be interchangeable, though the colors won't match. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show this off, give you an idea of how it's evolved since, you know, several years ago with that red Onslaught wave. I will say I very much prefer this Captain America. Not just because he has, you know, more extensive original tooling. I like the colors more on him. You know, they're much brighter. I think they work a lot better for him. I really prefer the newer head sculpt with the much more prominent wings on the head. And I like the face more, too. This Cap, he's got this real bruiser-type face, which I felt never really fit the rather pretty boy aesthetic of Captain America. This almost looks like a different character wearing Cap's outfit. It's not. It is supposed to be Steve Rogers. It's just a very different interpretation of him. So I really like this one. What is funny is that this guy actually comes with a werewolf head to reference the Cap Wolf story arcs. Now, if I personally owned this toy and had it in my collection, after getting this one and feeling like I have a great comic book Captain America, I would only use the werewolf head for this guy. Just to make him way less redundant, you know, have a very different version of Captain America. Because as far as being just normal Cap, I think this guy absolutely takes the cake. And for one final group shot, we're taking a look at the previously released 20th anniversary Iron Man. Now, I very much like that Iron Man figure. I think it's a great figure, but he doesn't feel quite as fleshed out as Cap. And as far as like aesthetics and surface detailing, I think I do find myself preferring the Captain America just a little bit more. It could just be that I'm not the biggest fan of Iron Man's classic getup. I always thought it felt a little too organic looking to be a suit of, metal armor, especially on like the arms and legs and stuff. It's a great toy, don't get me wrong. Really fantastically done. But I do find myself liking this Captain America just a little bit more. He's just got an extra cool factor about him. I love the many, many different ways you can like set this guy up compared to Tony, who's, he's got his repulsors, and your options are basically have him or don't have him, and then have smoke around him or don't have smoke around him. And again, great figure. He's just not doing it for me the same way this new one is. So far, I think this is the better of the two. We'll just have to wait and see how, Hulk and Toad turn out to see, which one is actually the best of this wave. But I think they do look excellent together. They make for a very nice looking little collection here of our classic comic-based Marvel characters. And I think they both do a good job of celebrating the character's history. And this completes our look at the new 20th anniversary Captain America. I have to say I'm very impressed with this figure. I think it came out phenomenally. Now, he does have some reused tooling, but it's all good tooling, right? It's stuff that was previously used for a different Cap, who was also comic-based, so it works here, right? The boots, the gloves, has that kind of floppy effect going on. And then where the tooling is new, which is, most of his upper body, it looks fantastic. Again, I love the texturing on here. It's really, really good. I love the harness, so his, shield actually looks like it has something to attach to instead of just magically sticking to his back. Love the raised little star emblem right there. The head sculpt is phenomenal. And I love the number of options you get with this guy. You can have a masked, unmasked. Even has like the fake pull-down cowl there, which is great. You have all those different options for his shield. Great hand options. I love the saluting hand, right? That's very within character for him. So, yeah, I think this is a phenomenal figure. Of course, the backdrop also, right? Great selling point. Still disappointed that it's not a recreation of the plastic backdrop. I'm not crazy about having cardboard stands and displays and stuff because they don't hold up well over time. Now, this one's fairly simple. It's just one piece of cardboard and like a clip, so it should do okay. But they're just not as durable as a piece of plastic. So that's maybe my only gripe with this. Though, of course, having a full plastic backdrop would have further driven up the price of this, so there is that trade-off they gotta consider. Either way, whether they had raised the price, a few bucks to include it, or kept it as it is, I think it's a great value. I think it's a really terrific figure. And if you're looking for a very good Marvel Legends Captain America, I think this has you covered. Of course, that is just how I feel about this toy, so now I want to know what you all think of it. Is this something you're looking forward to? Does this kind of scratch all the right itches for a comic-inspired Captain America? Or maybe a nostalgia vibe for those old, Toy Biz days? Or do you not like this for some reason? Maybe just there's too many Captain Americas out there, or you actually don't like the way this turned out? Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the new Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Series 1 Captain America. And with all that said, I will see you next time.